I am saying is murder rates.
Going down.
They actually are going down.
Murder rates. Inflation is still
plateauing.
Scott Jennings calls him out. The dude continues to lie, and they act like it's a both sides thing.
So this just in, CNN are a bunch of liars. But, I mean, is that really news? We already knew that, right? But here's them being caught live in 4K. So this was a tweet posted by Aaron Gregorian where he writes about this incident. But here is the clip that I am talking about right here.
Rates. Yeah, actually, I am saying is murder rates.
Going down.
They actually are going down. Murder rates.
Inflation is still
plateauing.
It is decreasing in rate, which is the entire goal.
But
of
are
the
prices
Federal
going
Reserve.
down or not? Just to be clear. No, they're not.
They are
down
from their sky high rates.
Yeah, actually,
no. Let's move on. Next up for
we were just arguing over combat zones. I don't know where we are this morning.
You can argue with me.
You guys are trying to paint a picture of a country that doesn't exist.
I'm not painting anything. I'm painting. Stop talking. That's what I'm painting.
What we are saying, though, is that...
So what happened there is that this dude on the left, this guy right here, they're trying to push the lie about how inflation's going down. They even said about how Donald Trump is inheriting a great economy from Joe Biden, one of the best economies, and all these other lies. This dude is calling him out for it. And that lady right there told him straight up to zip it. Like, okay, let's move on. All right, nothing to see here, guys. Ooh, wow. I mean, again, is this a shock to anybody? Are we surprised that CNN is pushing pro-Democrat propaganda? I mean, it's already been known, right? It's already been known. So now, Tim Pool has some things to say about it. Let's see what he has to say.
Because instead of having an honest conversation about what's really going on, they just keep bringing on people who lie. And then you get this from Mediaite. Zip it. CNN's Kate Bolden, I don't know how to say her name, and Scott Jennings go at it in heated debate over a January 6th. Well, it's more than that. In this clip, they basically have some dude lying. Scott Jennings calls him out. The dude continues to lie, and they act like it's a both sides thing. It's amazing. So obviously the debate starts with, January 6th was bad. Today's January 6th. Donald Trump, he's bad. And Scott Jennings says, look, a lot of people called out Trump and said January 6th was bad. But I mean, what happened that day? Everything, the machine kept turning. Then you get this other dude who comes out and he's like, Donald Trump's inheriting the best economy. There's no troops anywhere in combat zones. Just pushing these lies over and over again. And Scott Jennings points out accurately, this was the argument that was made before the election. It's an argument that failed. So what are we still doing here? But this is what CNN does. They think we're going to play this game where it's like, we'll just keep lying to people because that's what both sides mean. I'm going to say it for you again because I've said it before. The only difference between left and right in this country is whether you know what's really going on or you don't. So I'll throw it back to that viral clip when we had that young Luke Beasley on the show. And we were arguing about left committing more violence or right committing more violence. And the problem with it is that left and right doesn't mean anything. They say the right wing is more prone to violence, but you're literally just saying anyone who doesn't agree with leftist social orthodoxy is right wing. You're lumping in anarcho-capitalists who want to live in Churan, Mexico with no government to a white nationalist neo-Nazi type guy who wants to create an ethno-state. They're not things in the, they're completely different things. Not the guy who wants to create an ethno-state. They're not different things in the, they're completely different things. They're not the same in the least bit. That's the problem. So when you look at what CNN is doing, they're basically saying, well, if we're going to have the left and the right, we need one liar and one honest guy. Hence, you get this, zip it. Yelling at it wasn't so contentious. It's not the craziest thing, but Scott's correct. And there are people who live in this false reality. We have troops in combat zones. We had an American soldier, I believe, as Scott Jennings points out, lose his life in Gaza, which is a combat zone. And they lie. Well, my friends, let's roll tape. Before we do, my friends, head over to Cast Brew.
You know, it's funny. I never really heard it put that way, but it's perfectly true. Right and left basically just means the people that know what's going on and the people that don't know what's going on. You know, because everyone that doesn't just bow down to the left is just automatically deemed right wing. Everybody. That's how you have someone like Tim Pool here, who isn't a right-winger. He's not a conservative by any means. He's like a centrist, if anything. But he gets lumped in as a right-winger just because he doesn't buy all the lefty propaganda and all the lefty BS.
See it for yourself. Let's roll.
In a sense, is it how we got here? Is interesting, and you can see the evolution. You can play all the sound bites from the days after when you heard Republicans blaming Donald Trump, some being short of saying he should be.
If you enjoy content like this, subscribe to my channel, please. You'll be helping me out a lot. Let's continue.
Saying he should be held accountable. And 4 years later, we are here. It is a stunning political comeback attributed to how Trump played it afterward, how Democrats played it afterward, or something else?
Well, I think it's some mixture of everything. But to me, the big message is that in the United States, the people decide. And because of the disastrous 4 years that came after Donald Trump, the people decided to return Donald Trump to power.
Indeed.
And that's fundamentally what happened. They looked at what happened on January the 6th. They looked at all the things Democrats claimed about Donald Trump. And they also analyzed every single decision that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris made. And they delivered Donald Trump a convincing victory 4 years later.
It is tough, though, Scott, because when you say the people decide, that's what people tried to make sure didn't happen on January 6th, was allowing the people to decide.
So what, lady? So what? You know what this is? She's making this comment for the sake of appearing impartial, but it has no bearing on what Scott just said. Everybody saw January 6th. Whatever you think about it. 4 years later, they said, yeah, we want Donald Trump to be president.
And the machinery turned. It was a terrible...
The lack of acknowledgement of how bad it was in the aftermath.
I mean, I think a great many people have acknowledged it, but also what happened that day. The machinery turned. Joe Biden became the president.
Yeah, and Scott's right, but my response there would have just been, lady, it was a bad day. But you want people to come out and scream and cry over something that happened several years ago, which they clearly do not care about. I give you this, Kate. You keep saying acknowledge these things. We did. It was called an election, and Donald Trump won. That should say everything to you. So, Scott, I understand he doesn't want to go down that same road as Ryan did. And so he's like, yes, okay, we acknowledge. No, I reject this. Look, first of all, I got no problem saying rioting is bad. But I'm going to say this. Clearly, the American people don't think it was. So you sit here behind your desk on your high horse and say, why won't you acknowledge how bad it was? Well, I got to be honest, lady. Not only do I think it was not nearly that bad, it was bad. We don't want it to happen again. You fight a cop, you go to jail, fine. But the American people also disagree with you. So who are you talking to? You see, why won't they acknowledge it? We all showed up on election day and acknowledged it. And the result was we do not care. Thank you.
He had one of the worst terms of any U.S. president, and then the people scrambled back to Donald Trump. That is the history of what happened.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I look at today.
That looked like a jump cut, by the way, but anyway.
Donald Trump is inheriting one of the best economies that a president has inherited in a very long period of time. If you look at the fact that something like net migration at the border is lower than it was even before Donald Trump took office.
They just lie. They just lie. It is insane to me. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just pull this up for you. The state where the price of eggs has increased a whopping $10 days after California's $9 surge.
Yeah, how can you just straight up stand there and say this is the best? He's inheriting the best economy. Like, how can you say that with a straight face? Yeah, clearly it's just a lie. If you were to ask these people, okay, so is this how presidents? Is this the goal that presidents should strive for every term? Is this the type of economy we should strive for? They're not going to say yes, because no sane person would say yes. This is the economy a president should strive for. If Donald Trump in 4 years were to have this exact same economy, and you ask them, hey, so what do you guys think about this economy? They wouldn't be sitting here saying, oh yeah, this is a great economy. Of course they wouldn't. And yes, Tim Pool is absolutely correct, but people don't care about January 6th. Clearly they don't. They don't care. At least they don't care about it as much as these lefty propagandists want us to care about it. They want us to believe it was one of the darkest days in history. Well, clearly the American people don't agree, because for it being the darkest day in history, well, I guess the people don't think. For the people to reelect the guy who hosted the darkest day in history, that should tell you the American people do not agree with this. So yes, who is this for? It is for all the people with TDS. That's all they have left. But thankfully, though, those people with TDS, they're the minority. They are not the majority, clearly. And I am so excited about that. But what do you guys think about this whole situation? Sound off in the comments section below. Smash that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you enjoy content like this. And if you do enjoy content like this, I got a whole bunch more goodies for you on the screen to click away and enjoy.